What up, y'all? It's Jenny. What up, y'all? It's Jenny. We're gonna be covering fruit today. Make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into it. We got some fruit down here as well that you can't see. It's cut off at the bottom. Let's go ahead and just get started. Durian, irrelevant. I don't even think I've ever seen one of these in real life. What the hell is that? Grapefruit. Actually, let's not do grapefruit yet. Let's do. Let's do. Let's do. Let's do dragon fruit. Dragon fruit, irrelevant. I don't know what the hell this is. I've seen this. You get, a little bit of vitamin C, a little bit of fiber, but it's really just like a fad. I don't know what the fuck that is. Rambutan, I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm sure it's got a little bit of something like some vitamin C, iron. I've heard about it. I've never seen this in real life, so irrelevant. What else we got? What else? What else? What else? A lot of these I want to save for a little bit later on. I just want to get these useless ones out the way. This one, completely useless. I don't even know what the hell that is. Let's see what else. Ground cherries, irrelevant. That's easy. A lot of these are irrelevant. Like you literally, like I know it sounds like a joke. You literally don't need these. A lot of these you've probably never even seen before, and for good reason, right? A lot of these are just like they're not useful for the human diet, so that's kind of the reason you don't see them. Custard apple, like irrelevant. These do have some B vitamins. You can get some fiber, but they don't really last very long. Kind of irrelevant. Let's keep going. What else do we got? Um, Sour cherries. What else can we put in the irrelevant tier before we keep going? Let's see. Make sure I drop a comment below if you disagree with any of these. Let me know. Jackfruit, irrelevant. Definitely irrelevant. Mangosteen, irrelevant. I think that covers irrelevant. I think that covers it. Let's keep moving. So now we can actually start the tier list. Okay, so these okay fruits are like, I'm not mad if you eat these, but once again, these really aren't necessary. First one, coconut. Really good for metabolism. You can even like cook with coconut oil. Like you can use coconut oil in exchange for other kinds of oils like canola oils, seed oils. But it's very very calorie dense. Better used as an ingredient rather than a whole fruit. Cherries, melatonin. Very good for sleep, anti-inflammatory. Me personally, I don't like the pits that are inside the cherries. Makes it kind of hard to eat a little bit. And watch for added sugar when it comes to these. Make sure you watch for that. What else do we got? Where should we go? We should go raisins. Raisins, I used to love these as a kid. Not so much anymore. For people that aren't familiar, these are basically dried grapes. So it's basically like a grape, everything that's in a grape, but it's gonna be more condensed. So watch out on these because you can binge eat these and overeat with these, because everything that's in that grape is in the raisin, but it's less water, but everything else in there, like the sugars, the calories, it's still in there. It's just smaller, so it's easier to overeat. They are good in small amounts though. Eat them as a snack or like top them on to like oatmeal, and you'll be good. All right, where else do we want to go? Let's go Asian pear. These I have seen in real life, but they're fine. They're not unhealthy by any means, and they're actually pretty sweet, but they're pretty low in nutrients. So it's not very useful. Um, let's go kumquat. We'll do that. This is something that's actually a little unique. You want to eat the skin with these. I mean, with a lot of fruits, you want to eat the skin. Like we haven't covered apples yet. And obviously, eat the skin on apples. Bananas, you may not eat the skin. But I remember my grandfather would tell me stories about how he would eat banana peels as a child. So you can't eat them. It's not gonna hurt you. But kumquats is something you definitely want to eat the skin. It's got a lot of nutrients in there, a lot of vitamin C, a lot of fiber. Great to snack on. But it's hard to find sometimes. Not worth seeking out specifically, but if you do enjoy them, definitely check them out. Blackcurrant, another good one. It's hard to find, but they are pretty good. Very high in vitamin C, even more so than oranges. Really, honestly, one of the most nutritious fruits. The only reason it's ranked this low is just because it's almost impossible to find if you're in the U.S. So, good luck finding them. What else do we want? Let's go lychee. Very sweet, very enjoyable to eat. Vitamin C, copper, but very high in sugar. Very high in hypoglycin A, actually, and these are basically like these are like linked to like hypoglemic episodes, and it's fine in moderation, but these actually can be a little dangerous. So that's why I put them a little bit low, but they are good. And they do have some vitamin C and copper is very useful if you take like zinc supplements. Things like lychee can be very good to supplement that copper. I think that's good for the OK tier. Maybe we'll throw, see if we're missing anything. Gooseberry, yes, gooseberry, very nutrient dense, vitamin C, fiber, antioxidants. Very, very good, very antioxidant rich. A little hard to find if you live in America. Very hard to find these, but they are good. All right, so that's okay. Let's move on to the good tier. So let's just go ahead and we'll put red and white grapes in here. Both very good, both associated with longevity, anti-inflammatory, cardiovascular health, relatively high in sugar, and once again easy to overeat, just like the raisins. Do choose the white over the red if you can, or I'm sorry, the red over the white, just because the red ones have a little bit more antioxidants. But definitely something that needs to be consumed in moderation. Moving on, apricots, very rich in beta carotene, potassium, vitamin C, good for eye health, immune function, skin quality. Honestly, I'll put these above grapes. Apricots are great. Once again, a little bit of sugar, kind of like the grapes. That's why they're not in the amazing tier. Not necessary, but they are good. Nectarines, where are the nectarines at? I don't know, nectarines, I wanted to touch on these also. Very high in vitamin C, beta carotenes, antioxidants. A solid fruit, not always the most commonly available, but not bad. But I did want to touch on nectarines. What else? Papayas, let's touch on those. These are good for digestion, rich in vitamin C, vitamin A, folates, very anti-inflammatory, support your gut health. These aren't very practical in the US because they are a little bit expensive, but they are worth including if you do have the means to do so. Okay, moving on. Guava is definitely something we want to add in here. One of the more nutritionally dense fruits that actually a lot of Americans don't typically eat, or maybe never even eaten before. A single guava is going to have like 4 times the vitamin C of an orange, plus fiber, potassium, lycopene. The only reason it's not rated higher is just because of the unavailability. A lot of people haven't heard of guava. If they have heard of guava, they never tried it. Otherwise, it'll probably be in the great tier. But we'll just put it in good. Plus, we got some really heavy hitters that are going to be up here, so you don't want to miss those. So moving on, what else do we want to throw in here? The good tier is going to be pretty big, just because it is like the mid range. So a lot of stuff's going to end up in this mid range. So what do we want to throw in here? Let's do blood orange. These are um, I don't know if I want to say these are an upgrade from regular oranges. Um, you know, good cardiovascular health, good information or good for information, um, just not available to everybody. They're more seasonal, but they are worth picking up when you see them. Tangerines, very convenient, very portable, something you can take to work. Kids love them, adults love them. Rich in vitamin C, beta carotene, slightly higher than in sugar than a standard orange, but still a solid choice. And a good option for people that struggle to eat fruit regularly. Tangerines, like if you're someone who doesn't eat any fruit at all, tangerines is one of fruits I'm recommending to someone, because you don't need to wash them and they're portable. You can throw them in like your book bag or a bag. You can throw them in your pocket, like a pocket of your jacket, and then you just peel it. Throw away the peel. It's really easy to peel. You eat it, and it's GG's. So very very good. Moving on, let's do passion fruit. Very high in fiber, vitamin C, vitamin A. Just very all around good fruit, just limited availability. So that's kind of keeping it from reaching the higher tier. Moving on, figs. This is something I definitely want to touch on because number one, high in fiber, calcium, potassium, polyphenols. Very very good for bone health and gut health. They just have a little bit of a higher price tag, a little bit calorie dense, and can sometimes have added sugar. So very very good, but has some downsides that you could be aware of or may want to be aware of, and sometimes can be hard to find. Moving on, red currant. Vitamin C, fiber. Good for immune, good for heart health, but rarely seen in American grocery stores, which is the main limiting factor here. But if you do happen to run across these in like a farmer's market, I definitely would recommend picking some up, trying them, and seeing if you like them. Starfruit. Gonna keep working on this good tier here. Very good source of vitamin C, fiber, antioxidants. They even look pretty cool. Kids love them if you can give them to your kids. If you have kids, kids love them. They love the shape of them. It does have you know some links to kidney disease, or can be harmful if you have kidney disease, or just bad kidneys in general. This is something where you may want to talk to your doctor about before eating star fruit. But if you aren't aware of having any kidney issues, then you won't have any problem with star fruit. Just something to keep in mind. But very good vitamin C, fiber, antioxidants. You can't really go wrong. Moving on, mulberry, iron, vitamin C, resveratrol, good for blood health, even good for diabetics. A lot of anti-diabetic properties. Very rarely will you see these in U.S. stores, but you can find these in other places. But I've seen a lot of studies on the mulberries, and this is something I wish it was more accessible in the U.S. But right now it's a little bit hard to find. Once again, one of these things where it could be in the great tier or even amazing tier, but it's just not very accessible for the average person. Moving on, persimmons, vitamin A, vitamin C, fiber, manganese. Make sure these are fully ripe before you eat them. Just one thing, if you aren't familiar with these, and if you do see these, make sure they're fully ripe. But these are, nutritionally speaking, these are fantastic. It's just has a little bit of a learning curve, because if you eat them when they're not ripe, it's just not as good. Pomelos, these are very large citrus fruit. If you aren't familiar with them, a little bit sweeter than a grapefruit, I would say. Vitamin C, potassium, flavonoids, these are all going to support your heart health. Carries, you know, I'm kind of debating if I want to put this in great, but it's just a little inaccessible once again. If you live in America, chances are you've probably never even seen one of these. Not sure if there's a point in putting it in the great tier quite yet, but maybe in the future. Moving on to the great tier, green apples, high in fiber, lower in sugar than red apples. Red apples, we'll probably put these in here too. But good anti-inflammatory, good for gut health. Sugars, but good sugars. And once again, for red apples, same thing. Fiber, really good. Very good if you have heart disease, reducing risk for diabetes, and most importantly, apples. They're very, very portable, very cheap. You can find these anywhere. You can take them anywhere. Same thing like the tangerine, except you don't have to peel these. You can eat these and you throw away the core when you're done. Great banana. I mean, obviously, bananas are fantastic. These are even great for people who exercise or work out. These are a fantastic pre-workout meal. Some good healthy carbs, rich in potassium. Good for muscle function, magnesium. Good for gut bacteria. It's going to feed your gut bacteria. Inexpensive. You can get a banana for like 50 cents, and you can find these everywhere. So can't go wrong with the bananas. Oranges. Once again, oranges, you can find these everywhere, and I think you could probably start to see the pattern. Like a lot of these foods, in the good tier, they could have been in great, but they're just not as accessible. Oranges, one single orange is going to cover your daily vitamin C requirements. This is all you need for vitamin C. So if you're taking a vitamin C supplement right now, literally you can swap it out with an orange and you'd be good. But not only that, it's going to provide you folate, thiamine, potassium, natural fibers, really just all around a awesome fruit. Kiwis going in the great tier, for someone like myself that might be like a good or okay, just because these little seeds I found can be harmful for digestion and actually cause pain, especially if you eat kiwis in like a smoothie. But just gram for gram, these are one of the most nutrient dense fruits that exist, and that can't really be argued. So vitamin C, just like the orange, but also like vitamin K, potassium, digestive enzymes. Even kiwis have been shown to improve sleep quality if you eat them before bed. So really can't go wrong with the kiwi unless you have digestive problems that are going to give you adverse effects. Peach, solid source of vitamin A, vitamin C, decent fiber, a little modest when it comes to the sugar, antioxidants, anti-aging, good for your metabolism, easy to eat, easy to digest, really an underrated fruit, probably one of the more uncommon fruits in this great tier, maybe along with the kiwi. Maybe it's in regards to commonness, maybe the kiwi is a little bit more uncommon, but peach, like more people should be eating peaches. Very, very underrated. Pear, this is probably going to be a surprise. Most people thought I would put it in the good tier, but it's going in great tier. It's very high in fiber, great for cholesterol. It's good source of energy. Copper, vitamin C. And here's the thing, it's a little bit bland in my experience, pears, but for some people that's actually a benefit. For people that don't like fruit, that blander taste might actually be more appealing to them, and pears are going to be more accessible than anything that's in this good tier. So can't really go wrong with pears. Mangoes, once again, super accessible. You can find mangoes everywhere. High in vitamins A, C, good for antioxidants, anti-cancer properties, anti-diabetic properties. It does have the downside of having higher sugar content. So you do need to eat these in moderation, but they are fantastic fruit. Moving on, grapefruit. Studies have shown these are great for supporting your metabolism and burning fat, regulating blood sugar. Great for people with diabetes or pre-diabetics, rich in vitamin C, lycopene. Really can't go wrong with grapefruit. The big caveat when it comes to grapefruit is that it does interact with a lot of medications, which is something that I've seen and found. So once again, something you might want to check with your doctor beforehand. And also for me personally, I just cannot stand the taste of grapefruit by themselves. But they are good. You can't go wrong with a grapefruit. Moving on, where do we want to go? Pineapple. Let's do pineapple. These are very, very good for inflammation. It's gonna aid in recovery. Vitamin C, manganese. Pineapple. Something about pineapple, man. On paper, pineapple, it doesn't look that impressive, but pineapple is accessible. You can't go wrong, and it's going to do a lot of things that a lot of other fruits aren't able to do. Like the aiding in digestion, and best to eat these fresh. Don't eat the canned pineapples. Stay away from those if you can. Moving on, plums. These are pretty good. These are pretty underrated. Really good for gut health. Rich in sorbitol, chlorogenic acid, which is gonna support digestion, liver function, vitamin K, potassium. If you go the dried version, which will be a prune, those are even more concentrated when it comes to the fiber and supporting your gut. So great for digestion. That's something that you're focused on. Cantaloupe. I kind of, wasn't super sure about putting cantaloupe in the great tier, but I think it does deserve to be here. It's an excellent source of vitamin A. It's going to support your eye health, immune function, skin quality. High water content, which is going to make it great for hydration, low in calories and easy to digest. So can't really go wrong with the cantaloupe. It being high in water, it's mostly water, which would lead you to believe that it's not very nutrient dense, but it is quite good, and you can actually eat a lot of this before it becomes a problem. Same thing with the honeydew. Let's go ahead and throw that in there. Once again, filled with water, and it's great for hydration, but a decent amount of vitamin C, potassium, a little bit lower in antioxidants than the cantaloupe, but still a clean, low calorie option. It's great for people who just need something that's easy to digest, and just a good choice if you're like a runner or you live in a hot environment. It's basically like eating water mostly. So moving on, blackberries, high in fiber, low in sugar, vitamin C, vitamin K, manganese. I mean, what's not to like about blackberries? It's gonna fight inflammation, which is really good. These are really like overlooked compared to blueberries, but nutritionally, I would say they're basically in the same tier. I for one don't like blackberries as much as blueberries, and maybe that's impacting my rating a little bit. But blackberries, they're very good. If there was like a tier between great and amazing, I think it would probably end up in there. Cranberries, strong evidence for like urinary health. I know I've heard like urologists speak great things about cranberries. I'm not a urologist, so I can't speak too much on that, but I'm sure there's some studies out there. It is good for preventing bacteria in the bladder wall, though, which is very, very good. So it's going to prevent you from getting like UTIs and things like that. And it is also going to support like gut health and cardiovascular health. But just make sure you watch out for added sugars, which is added sugars are just gonna cut all the benefits. Lemon and lime. Let's go ahead and just throw both of those in there. Even though these aren't things that you really eat whole, they are Good for detoxing, the liver. They are going to aid digestion when consumed before meals. So it is nice to like add some to your water, and it's going to make your water more enjoyable. It's going to make it a little bit healthier. It's going to help you digest foods a little bit more. And just like squeezing a lemon into your morning water is just, one of the simplest and cheapest, healthy habits you can start today, and it's just gonna have um, great results. So, lastly, let's knock out the amazing tier. You can kind of see them here at the bottom, so we'll just kind of knock them out one by one. Blueberries, I'm putting this first because it's my personal favorite. I got some blueberries on my desk right now that I'm about to eat after I finish this video here. These are the undisputed, king when it comes to antioxidants. This is something that I'm eating every single day. These fight, oxidative stress. It's going to support your brain health. It's reducing inflammation. Widely available both fresh and frozen, year-round, affordable. You can throw them in a shake, eat them by themselves, throw it in a yogurt bowl or a Greek yogurt bowl. I mean, really, it's just like it's probably the highest ROI foods you can eat, accessible. Everybody loves them. Even like not even just blueberries, but blueberry flavored anything like blue Gatorade's the best. Like blue. I could go on and on about blueberries. Blueberries amazing, fantastic. Can't go wrong with blueberries. Avocado, technically a fruit, an absolute staple, should be in everyone's diet. Rich in unsaturated fats, support heart health. It's going to help with testosterone for men, satiety, high in potassium, folate, fiber. It's going to keep you full, very, very healthy fat. And it's going to pair with a lot of foods. Like you can, throw this in your Chipotle bowl. If you get guacamole, it's great with Mexican food. You could throw it on toast. You could eat it by itself, eat it with chips. Very, very easy to throw this into a meal or into your diet. Strawberries, very, very easy to find. You'll find this everywhere. Very, very low sugar if you don't add sugar to it. That's the one thing you got to keep in mind. If you're eating strawberries, do not add sugar to them. They should be sweet enough already. And if you don't add sugar to them, then the sugar is not bad. And then very high in vitamin C, loaded with polyphenols are gonna support your cardiovascular health. 1 cup of strawberries is gonna give you more vitamin C than an orange, which is fantastic. Cheap, delicious, easy to find, fresh or frozen. Really just a no-brainer. Watermelon, about 92% water, which is crazy to think about. Which is making it one of the most hydrating foods available in the market. It's going to contain lycopene, which is a good antioxidant. Eating watermelon is linked to reduced cancer and heart disease risk. Also has citrulline, which is going to improve your blood flow and increase exercise performance. In the summer, you can't really beat watermelon. Pomegranate, one of the most antioxidant dense fruits out there on the planet, I would say, which kind of slept on. The polyphenols in this are elite level when it comes to anti-inflammatory. Research has shown these improve memory, lower your blood pressure, improve your gut microbiome. Whether it's eating it whole with the seeds or juicing it, you can't really go wrong with the pomegranates. Raspberries, especially high in fiber, low in sugar, packed with vitamin C and manganese. It's going to support your gut health, blood sugar, metabolism. Just one of the best fruits for people watching their carb intake. Now, one thing I am noticing is that we got 2 left over, which I don't know where I want to put these. The date and the sour cherry. Dates. I had an ex that used to like dates, so I'm gonna put them in the irrelevant tier. Whenever I see a date, I just think of her. So let's just put that in the relevant tier. And sour cherries, where did I put the cherries at? Let's just put sour cherries right next to them. And boom, here's our list. So blueberries, avocados, strawberries, watermelon, pomegranate, and raspberries. That's gonna make out the amazing tier. If you had to only eat 3 fruit a day, what I would actually recommend is you would eat these 3 right here: blueberries, strawberries, and kiwis. This is actually going to give you the most complete nutritional profile if you were to only add 3 fruits to your diet. Um, but yeah, this will make up my amazing tier. I don't think kiwis are, maybe kiwis we can throw them in the amazing tier. Why not? Let's just go throw them in there. Maybe if we made some changes, maybe banana can go in amazing. Um, mm, Raisins, I kind of want it. Maybe raisins can go in the good. Um, and okay, I think I'm happy with this. So go ahead, take your screenshot, and save this. Go to the grocery store, buy whatever is in the amazing tier and the great tier, maybe the good tier. These in the okay or relevant tier you don't need. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. I plan on dropping a school community very soon, so make sure you subscribe so you're notified when that comes out. And other than that, it's been Jenny, and I'm out. Peace.